Welcome to the Maritime Story. To honor, motivate, support women in maritime, IMO celebrates International Women Maritime Day on the 18th of May. So to honor our women, we are discussing today on the Women in Maritime chapter. To discuss the topic, we have got Professor Jitendra Singh Rawat with us, who has been a chief engineer, and his career talks about that he has cleared IIT entrance and joined Merchant Navy in DMET, Kolkata. He started his career with Anglo Eastern, worked in various types of ships, currently working as a placement head with Department of Maritime Studies, Ganpat University, Ahmedabad. And we have got other guests with us, the man who doesn't need any introduction, the man who is helping bridging gap and by his expertise in the maritime sector. So my first question to you, sir, of course, how we are talking about IMO and International Maritime Organization, which mandates to celebrate this day. How IMO is helping women in maritime, please. And starting with Professor Jitendra Rawat, please, your words.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav, for inviting me, and thank you, Captain Sub. And it's really a great pleasure to share a platform with you. IMO is doing very good. And in the instruction of IMO, the DG Shipping is providing the scholarships to the girls, and they are generating the lot of awareness programs all over the world. And at the same time, we as an MTI are also spreading the awareness for increasing the women by 2030. The target is 50%, which is far, but everyone of us have to work toward it.
So I'd like to bring in Captain Gajanan Karanjikar. Sir, your quick words on the same question, please.
Gaurav, thank you very much, and thank you for doing this special episode on 18th of May, which marks for a woman in maritime, as declared by the IMO. And as you know, IMO is a specialized agency for maritime from UN. So this year's theme is, Safe Horizons, Women Shaping the Future of Maritime Safety. Look at so much of importance IMO has given to the women's inclusion in maritime towards future of maritime safety. Right. IMO being of course, the maritime body in the world, they have run a lot of programs for women leadership programs, inclusion of women. As you know, the Sustainable Development Goal, which talks about gender equality, which has been taken in very high spirits by maritime sector, and the inclusion of women has started.
I'd like to bring in Captain Gajanan Karanjikar. Sir, we have got a brilliant NEP policy, and that is promoting more sort of a skilled career to the young generation. So why can't those policies be effectively taken into consideration, so that from the childhood days, from the class 1, class 2, whether it is a boy or a girl is aware that a maritime industry exists, and it is also a profession which can be chosen as per the choice of a person. What would you like to say, sir?
See, a lot of things are happening in India today with respect to the inclusion of women in maritime sector. A lot of conferences happen, a lot of meetings happen, a lot of committees, a lot of policy initiatives from Government of India. I mean, today's President DG, he himself is involved into all these activities to promote, push, prod if required, make policies for companies and to do this. But what I feel is the entire ecosystem needs to be upgraded and should think about it. We have to learn from our history. See, when we started, maybe in 1920s or much before that, education for women, similar kind of hurdles were there. People were not, ready to send their girls to the school. People were not ready to educate women. Forget education, maritime sector. The similar kind of strategies we have to use now of creating awareness at all levels. So not only making policies will help, not only opening schools will help. We have to really get young minds on board, think like them, think like Gen Z, get them on board and work at 8, 9, 10 levels of society, whether it's at workers level, executive level, parents awareness level, children awareness level. I do some programs in the schools. And since we are looking at gender equality as per SGD 5, my suggestion, permanent suggestion, Gender can only be equalized if you don't speak about it. I don't call any captain a woman captain. She's a captain, she's a captain. She's a seafarer, she's a seafarer. Gender does not come into the play at all. There are certain physical hurdles the women has by virtue of her biological, structure. But then all those women are very well equipped and very understanding to handle them. See, NAP, as your question was, has given a fantastic platform on this vocational training. And those vocational training has to be adopted by the NEP, the regime. So why not include maritime as a vocational training? What stops us? But then, for that, the starting point has to be from maritime leadership in India. Various organizations' heads should come forward, attend to schools, tell them to include maritime, because maritime domain is a specialized domain. So not only making policies will help, not only opening schools will help, we have to really get young minds on board, think like them, think like Gen Z. So we have to bring in certainly a maritime into the school curriculum. If you have to be a maritime nation.
Very rightly said, we do that, we will be there. So, sir, my next question. I was going through some of the reports while doing my research. A looming problem, which be how the role and contribution of women in maritime development is recognized and framed. And if women are to be fully included in the maritime industry, discussions cannot be limited to the participation in one or two areas alone, such as environmental work, entrepreneurship, such as ship ownership. I'll start with Professor Rawat. Sir, your take on this, please.
Yeah, actually, when we talk about maritime field, we talk about girls. For now, girls are taking port management, logistic courses, and they are doing the other courses, but they are not coming into the core department. What we are looking today is 1.2% is the women in the maritime sector. Is like recently I have read somewhere that one cruise line, they have increased 3% of seafarer, girl seafarer, and to 22% in 4 years. So if we have to study those case studies, how they achieved it, then only we can be more inclusive about each and every field, each and every job sector of the maritime. And I have met many women entrepreneurs who are leading the shipping companies. I think Sanjam ma'am is one of the example, and Ishita Chakrabarti is also CEO of one of the fantastic shipping company, 40 years old. So women are coming in the leadership role, and it is history which used to tell us that so the countries with the more gender equality and the cultures which is having the more gender equality and diversity, they have the better economic growth. And that's why we call it equality for women means progress for all.
Very rightly said, as women is said to be a backbone for a country's progress. So I'd like to bring in Captain Gajanan Karanjikar. Sir, same question to you. What is your say on this, please?
No, absolutely right question and right thinking, Gaurav, on your part, where the third party person. And when I said about ecosystem, I did not mean just seafaring. Seafaring could be a toughest part of the entire, maritime sector for the women or for any gender for that matter. We are again not looking at only two genders, male and female. We are also looking at other genders as well. So, I mean, days will come when we'll include, have to include them as well. Because it's all able-bodied, seaman funda. So, but, I mean, as you rightly asked, the entire ecosystem means also we need to have, women, every profession needs to have role models. He spoke about two, ladies, he took their names, and really rightly so. Sanjam Sai Gupta and, Ishita Chakrabarti, they are doing fantastically well. And Sanjam also runs a women in maritime CEO programs, create awareness among the girls and helps them in joining the shipping, talks to shipping companies for policy inclusion, everything. But we need to have entrepreneurs in shipping who are women. Who will be the role models for them? We need to have more professors in colleges who are women. Those would be the catalyst. We need to have surveyors as women. We need to have pilots as women. So the entire ecosystem has to be filled in with certain percentage, which can, like, how it happens in army. When the army started, doing this inclusion of women officers, and promoting them to the higher ranks, which was not the norm earlier. They did with 1, 2, and then the instructors took the role forward. So the definitions of gender equality and women empowerment are to be really understood by people who are working in maritime and look at that definitions in fulfilling the task of including that, increasing the tabka of women, percentage of women, not only for seafaring, but for entire maritime sector.
Sir, putting my next question to you, I would like to say a few words in the honor of our women. सागर में सम्मान, महिलाएं हमारे देश का अभिमान. Sir, my question to you, Captain Gajanan Karanjikar, I'd like to start from. Sir, talking about some of the government press releases from the past, the government is actively providing financial assistance and policy level support to facilitate the engagement of Indian female seafarers in the maritime field. As a result of these efforts, the number of Indian women seafarers has increased to 3327. That is 3,327. So are these steps enough to achieve our goal of Vision 2030? What is your say on that, please?
See, very good question again. There with the efforts which are being done by the government, Sagar Mein Sanman is one of the fantastic programs. Which is showcasing women, which is highlighting women. And again, again, you see, I mean, we've done a small mistake there. Because women are not ready to join or not ready to join seafaring as such, we are telling them that, I mean, it reminds me of one small example. When we started underpass, underpass, there was the concept of cross. We used to always cross roads. Even in Bombay, such a traffic, was a high city of traffic. We used to always have zebra crossing and crossing the roads from top, where the entire traffic has to stop. Just see one man crossing the road, so many, cars to stop. So we started underpass. Earlier, when they started underpass in Churchgate, they used to write a board there. कि नीचे में क्या police तैनात है. You can use the underpass. People were scared to use underpass, but they didn't know what was inside. Whether somebody will loot them, rob them. सागर में सम्मान should not become a scheme like that. कि सागर में सम्मान है आपका, आप सागर में चले जाइएगा. ऐसा नहीं है. It is not that. It is a particular and peculiar woman empowerment tool where we are looking at including women in maritime decisions on board. And that will be the real Sanman.
Professor Rawat, same question to you. What is your take on that, please? Yes.
Okay. Rightly said by Captain Saab that we don't have to increase the number of women seafarer only in this field. We need to increase, like in the oil rigs and in the offshore vessels, the contracts are 28 days. So 28 days, 45 days. So many girls will get the flexibility of having the shorter contract in there, and they can have the regular, because a lot of families, lot of parents, they ask me that this is a contractual job. So in spite of that, in the offshore industry and on the rigs, there they have the permanent job on the basis of 28 days on, 28 days off kind of thing. And also in the maritime law sector, port sector, we have to increase the number of women. And for that, we need to create more and more awareness. And as we discussed earlier, government is also doing a wonderful job there. Under NEP 2020, they have allocated a fund also for the gender inclusive fund, I think the name is. And they have allocated the fund for inclusion of women in the education, to increase the education for women. And the government is doing everything now. All the interested party like banks and everyone, they also have to do the thing. Suppose registering a property, the girls will get a 1% lower charges for registration. Why not? This can be applicable for the education loan. And also the CSR activities by a lot of companies, they are doing it, and they can do for more and more girls to promote in the shorter programs, so to achieve the growth rate of the numbers will be faster. And yeah, DG Shipping is doing, as I heard recently that in CMMI conference, they have declared that they will give scholarship to the girls pursuing MBA also in port and logistic field.
I'd like to start with Captain Gajanan Karanjikar. Sir, when some good thing happens, it needs to be talked about. And of course, recently Government of India has taken out a notification giving maternity leave of 6 months for women. And of course, this is a big move. How the private sector, and especially, of course, when we talk about women in the maritime, how it has been adopted.
See, there is some kind of bit of confusion in this maritime and the maternity leave. See, for the woman who's a seafarer, the job is on contract. So once she's in a family way, she can be easily signed off and joins back when she's medically fit. A woman in maritime, which is working in the other maritime sectors ashore, for her the maternity leave can be like any other industries, provisions. So that should not be an issue at all. What we need to do is on this maternity, kind of a thing where the women have the doubt in their mind to join shipping or not. Will I get a maternity leave or not? We would require companies to come forward and say, yes, we would give you maternity leave enough as long as, and we will provide you a continuous salary during that time, provide you a shore job, provide you a work from home kind of a atmosphere for you, and keep you in maritime invested.
Same question to Professor Rawat. So what is your say on this?
Yeah, that's a very important question. And when we take admissions, the parents have these kinds of questions. So what I can say in this part is like shipping companies can do, they can, as rightly said by Captain Saab, that they can give them the shore job and for that period of time, and they can give them X amount of salary also, so that they will be the more secured. And in the maternity leave, the important part is what is the duration of the leave and what compensation and the benefits they will get. And is their job secured after that maternity period? Not all the companies have achieved this. And also, I've never heard of somebody like when my son born, after when he became 2 years, and I called my wife on board, and then she stayed there for 6 months, and we were there. So I've not heard of like any shipping companies is having the policy of calling husband on board.
I guess Captain Gajanan Karanjikar, you will agree with this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is a provision at the moment for a seafarer, a male seafarer, a high-ranking seafarer, chief engineer, master, chief officer, second engineer, even for that some junior ranks also, to take their family on board. Like I have sailed 5 times with my family and children on board. I don't know. I mean, has there been an example where the female seafarer, again a master, chief officer, chief engineer, second engineer, has taken a husband on board, as one of the supernumeraries they call it, the accompanist. So that's one thing. And Rawat, you're given a fantastic example. I'm sure that many men came forward saying that my wife is a seafarer or a maritime job a provider. Then definitely I will take care of the family and our children, and she can sail happily.
Thank you so much, both of you. This was Professor Rawat and Captain Gajanan Karanjikar. So thank you, Jai Navik, Jai Hind. Thank you.
Jai Navik, Jai Hind. Thank you very much.
Jai Navik, Jai Hind.